great research and ask some really great questions. And we try to highlight these people as best we can and ask these questions, and to be respectful as best we can too. I think that's always important when you are asking the harder questions.
Hold on a second. I don't think actually you're live on YouTube. The chat is saying that the show's not running, and I just checked, and there's nothing going on YouTube. But people see it live on Twitter.
Well, no, but I'm getting like...
It's live on Twitter, but not on...
It says that it's live on StreamYard.
It says live, but did you hit YouTube?
I did. Oh, mother of baby. Yeah, it says there's a little
plus it says sign. There you go. Okay, there we are.
It's on now.
So I guess it was delayed because I just checked on YouTube as well, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't see us live. There we go. It is live.
It's live now. Don't worry.
I was just thinking, oh no, what's going on?
Why stop now? I mean, seriously, it wouldn't be a day without if I could have a 2-hour conversation and it wouldn't be recorded. It would never get out to the public. It's yeah, it's good. But I'm glad it's here. We go.
No, it's good. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt the conversation.
No, thank you.
Sure, when it was going on. People are like, start over. Well, we're just chatting.
Oh my Lord, baby Joseph. Oh, Hail Mary, full of grace. And yes, okay. So, and all right, we were talking about
questions.
Asking questions. And
yes, thank you.
You know, even when it's not the popular choice or opinion, just still putting ourselves out there.
And see, I think I mean that's such a cool thing because you get a lot of people that come into this and they're podcasters, and you know, they can see that if you support UFOs or you're pro this person or that person, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to get all these hits and things like that. And so, like, did that, when you guys first started doing your show, did that ever like concern you that you weren't going to be getting the hits that everybody else was?
No, of course not. I mean, we make about 20 cents per show, you know, so it's
well,
not
in ads.
Yeah, in ads and stuff. So it's
it depends, obviously.
Yeah, but. So it's not like it's a business for making money. This is like a passion thing for us, and you know, we just pursue this for the passion, really, and you know, we're just tired of the lies, effectively, and. You know, we think we do have a valid voice, and we do think we have, you know, some great questions to ask, and that's all we'll continue to do. And whoever wants to come with us for the journey, then great. But if you don't agree with us, that's fine too. We're not going to force the community to pay attention to us, if that makes sense.
No, but we try to have we have a very diverse chat too. There's, you know, we encourage everybody to share their own opinions, and you know, we appreciate that everybody comes at it from a different angle. And the thing with our chat, which, you know, we love, is that there's people who are, you know, full on believers, people who fully don't believe anything, and then everybody in between. And from that, everybody still remains respectful, but can actually share their thoughts without getting attacked or feeling attacked. And, you know, we remind everybody as well not to be that way, because everybody is different, no matter what your stance is in the topic. And, you know, we encourage that diversity in the chat for sure. So it does make it feel like one big conversation, and, you know, learning something and also having fun. You know, it's kind of a well-rounded approach, I guess, to it.
And that's good. And I mean, honestly, I'm just so grateful to find people like both of you, because I dove into this, and I was going to MUFON conferences and listening to people speak about abductions, and, you know, hearing about, you know, A, B, C, and D. And then I learned some very hard lessons over and over and over again. And it was just like, okay, there's something really wrong here. And so I don't, you know, for me, I don't want anyone to have to go through the same mistakes I've gone through, because they've been painful. They have affected, you know, my loved ones. They've affected all sorts of things in my life. And I think that when a lot of people get involved in the UFO subject, you know, if you've got a sighting or you're seeing something you think is paranormal, you know, you put it into a chat room, you post it on Facebook, or God forbid, you put it in the MUFON database. And, you know, I mean, and then it's like you're automatically a target for other people who are coming in and saying, well, hey, you've seen this. Well, that means that the benevolent white brothers are here, and they send you a message that we are not going to destroy Earth. And you've got all of these people that when you're in a very, not necessarily traumatized, but when you're in a very receptive state and you want to know more, that is the prime time for people to be taking advantage of a person who is just simply trying to enter a sighting, onto the record. And I want to know what you guys think about that. I mean, what do you think about the way UFOs are reported, and do you think there are any problems with that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of personal sightings and things like this, I think, because we've had some stuff what's happened in the past to us too, and we would never go out and report this stuff because for me, if you have
one, we didn't record it.
Yeah,
we didn't
but
record it.
For me, I think it's something what's like a personal thing. If you have went through something what you can't explain, I think you do have to see it as a personal kind of thing, and to not seek approval from someone else, because you're not going to get the validation you want. You're not going to get the answers you want from the UFO community, and certainly from organizations like MUFON, etc. If anyone's done the research on MUFON, you'll know how shady that place is. So I think it's difficult because I can see it from both sides as well. Because if you have had something happen to you, and if it is a traumatizing event, which some people do claim, then you do want to kind of talk about that experience too. And if you don't have anyone to talk to in like your real life, then it is an easy place to come online and try to discuss this stuff. But you do have to bear in mind that not everybody you speak to is in it for the right reasons too, and they will try to take advantage of your story and manipulate you into certain ways. I mean, there's been plenty of cases. I mean, you mentioned Doty before. Just look at what he's done. There's always a Richard Doty in this community, to take advantage of you. So you do need to be careful too.
Right. And that's the crazy thing. It's like you look at Richard Doty and you see the interview that he was on recently, and then you see that he's been making the speakers, he's on the speaker circuit again, and people are promoting him, and it's like, okay, here's a guy who lied to people. He's lied about his career. He's lied about everything. He's done detrimental things to a human being, and he worked for Hal Puthoff, was on the payroll, and it's like, at what point in time do we say this isn't okay for us to keep paying people's way in the subject? I mean, it's like, my God, it's like people have, I mean, I don't know, what do you do? Because
it's crazy.
He's apparently going out. He's featured in a documentary that's coming out in October as well.
Yeah,
Doty and John Ramirez.
Yeah, we got sent something today from a company who are doing a documentary to try and get us to promote it, but we're not going to do it. Of course.
We're not maybe the right people to promote this, but good luck. But it's like, yeah, this guy's still going around and putting his face and name out there for whatever reason he has, which is a bit worrisome for sure.
I think what I've noticed with the UFO community, it tends to forget things a lot. And, and this is why, the work what you do is great, because you do continue to go back into history and reevaluate what these, what the players have said throughout the years. And you need to get the context for these people. And I think it's important to remember the history. I think that's a big issue with this community is people do tend to forget the history a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And, I think I don't think necessarily it's on purpose, because I think that's just the way the media works these days. It's just like the cycle of the news effectively. It's just bang, it's bang, bang, bang a lot of the time with small kind of clips and segments to distract everybody. But it is important to kind of take a step back at times and reevaluate things. I think that's really important. And that's why it's good the work you do, for sure.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you too, because I just, I've gone through this, and like I said, I mean, I've been out there in the open. Everybody can watch my shows interviewing a person that claimed to see a shape-shifting werewolf, for God's sakes. I mean, it's out there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's out there, and I'm glad I'm over that chapter of my life. But
Yeah.
it's been an odyssey that I've have shared, because I hope that people want to learn from this. And it's not like I'm a skeptic. I'm somebody that deserves the truth, and each of us deserves the truth. And I think, when you look back at the history of the subject, and you look back at a handful of people, Kit Green, Hal Puthoff, Robert Bigelow, now Brandon Fugel, you look back at this group of people, Colm Kelleher, who have steered a narrative. They've created a narrative, and then they've continued that narrative to make money for themselves. And it's you've got this, you've got Bigelow on 60 Minutes how many years ago, when he's, sitting there and he's like, whoa, they're right under our noses. I think he was interviewed by Laura Logan and things. And it's like, well, that would be your nose hair. You maybe need to get
Yeah.
I mean, get that taken care of. But it's just like, you've got these people who have literally just created myths that when I step back, and I look at everything, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I ever thought that was even a reality. And, I want to talk to you a little bit about Skinwalker Ranch, because I think this is kind of a highlight of ufology as a whole. And so you've got this ranch that was, you've got two, people, the Shermans, who were upside down on their mortgage. And then you've got somebody like Robert Bigelow, who came in. Allegedly, he was on the board of a bank in that area. And so he came in, bought the ranch, had them sign an NDA, and made, I guess, allegedly, according to Junior Hicks, which I've got this on videotape, got Gwen fired from the bank, and then kind of held his feet to the fire and said, you need to stay on here at the property to promote a specific story. And then you've got, all these, kind of media people putting things out there. And then you've got the big book, of course, that comes out, The Hunt for the Skinwalker, which will forever be something that I will take out camping when I need to wipe my ass.
Yeah, it's not.
Sorry, did I say that? I did. Oh my God, I said that. I can't believe I said that.
That, or if you need some fuel for the campfire.
Sorry, I just said that. I can't. Okay, I have to go back and edit that. But anyway, so
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech is a good thing. I'm just feeling very excited. But anyway, so you've got these, George Knapp and Colm Kelleher, who are shady in and of themselves. You've got George Knapp, who is a journalist who's received all these awards, and was heavily involved in Yucca Mountain, which was a place where they dumped nuclear waste, and was involved with Harry Reid, lots of dirty business dealings. He came up in, Coast to Coast, Art Bell, all of these things where they're creating in Nevada this show, which is basically a show for people that are staying up late at night and they might want to believe in conspiracy theories. So you saw that first with Area 2000, and then you saw that after, with John Alexander, Linda Moulton Howe, George Knapp, the same players. This is what Bigelow funded. And then you see after that, then you see Art Bell, and then you see Coast to Coast, which I must add, really, really interesting. A couple of days ago, Coast to Coast did a show about the FBI and how horrible they are rating Trump, which just goes to goes to show where their mindset is. But it's very interesting to see how these people who clearly have their foot in politics, and then they can sit there and say, well, oh my gosh, I saw something when I was a child. Well, okay, cool. Good job. Okay. Didn't we all?
Yeah.
And then he can, do the Roper study, or he can, pay Victoria Alexander to do a religious study on, if you give a questionnaire to people in the religious community, how are these questions going to answer what you put forward. And so to me, and I'm sorry, I'm not usually this talky when I've got guests on. I apologize, but I mean, it's like
we bring it out in you. That's okay.
Thank you. You do. But I mean, it's like I see, through everything that I've got here and everything that I've researched, that there was a need to buy databases. There was a need to interpret that data to figure out how we could manipulate a public or certain sections of the public because of that data. And in my opinion, this is exactly what's happened. I think that's what the UFO community is made up of, are people that are in there and that, like UFO Twitter. It's like, hey, I'm going to put something out there. We're going to see how you react, and God bless you. And I think that's really, it's a fascinating and frightening thing.
True.
Yeah, we're like one big testing ground on UFO Twitter. It's already, a group designated to the topic, and with a lot of people who want to believe in things, or who have had experiences, or who, just finally found a place where they have a voice. And so it is easy to do all these tests and to create, theories and division and manipulate and control all in one setting and all through social media. So it is interesting for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you've drawn some connections there with like the political world, and I think it's interesting the last few days, really, what's kind of I mean today as well, with Lou's new kind of lawyer who's got involved, his defamation person who he's now got on a retainer, and it's interesting to see where he leans in regards to his views and stuff, and it's not really a surprise. No. To me, when you kind of see all these connections and they all lean towards one way. And I think it's always important to kind of, keep those things in mind when you do listen to these people. And you need to bear in mind what their intentions could be. And a lot of the time it is the nefarious stuff. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of UFO Twitter, I think you're both right there. It is like a testing ground for me. And I'm trying not to even use the hashtag anymore. Like when like I retweet stuff or tweet stuff out, I do try and not use the hashtag. I do it sometimes as like a force of habit, but
if you want the attention of that audience, it's kind of hard not to use it in the sense, even though, I get what you mean, but it is hard not to at the same time.
Well, I feel better not doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mostly because every time I get on there, it's like there's a picture of me and just like that awful, vile kind of crap that is out there about me, and it's like I don't even get in there engaged. And so, I just don't. Yeah, I mean,
I spend significantly less time on there. I basically share out shows, maybe a couple of tweets here and there, but in total, like I try to spend less than half an hour a day. Yeah. And that's mostly because, we have like our business as well. So
but I'm on
it
a lot.
To keep it up. But
I'm on it too much. And Artemis does get annoyed at me for being on Twitter.
Like, I mean, I'm on Twitter.
I look over and he's on Twitter again. I'm like, oh my God. Are you ever not on it?
Just be glad he's not on Telegram or, exactly, on the Oath Keepers mailing list or something. But I definitely think that I would love to kind of do a study to see, okay, when did UFO Twitter start? Who were the people that originally like started posting on UFO Twitter, and where did that go? Because that again appears to be around the same time that we had Elizondo and his group of people. And I think that another thing that I want to say about Elizondo, which I find very interesting, is he has so many fans that are willing to go, discredit me, threaten me. I'm sure that you've seen the same. Yeah. John Greenwald has seen the same, even though you're just asking questions. And yet, like the first thing on his Twitter feed is, oh, well, I'm respectful and I don't allow bullying and harassment. And then it's like
a joke in plain sight, really.
I mean, it's just like a hypocrite. It's like, dude, okay, don't, say one thing and then talk out of your ass, because you are. And I think that's really some of his people that I know are really, really, really good people. I think that they should ask themselves, it's like, okay, here's this person who's promising us this because we're a veteran. We're a disabled veteran. We've got this going on, and we're being appealed to because we are this target audience. And yet, he's promoting something where we're not supposed to be doing this to people. And he is. His followers are. And he does have that responsibility. And I think that speaks volumes about the character that he is.
Yeah.
It does. And it's so the fact that you guys talked about there how he does have it pinned on the top of his profile, his like standards effectively, and but he doesn't accept, he'll always be up for answering these questions, etc. But then when you do try to ask him questions, he just doesn't respond. And
or
when
he doesn't attack.
Yeah, and like the few times someone actually has on like a podcast, the last time I can remember was on UCR, and Rava kind of asked him questions about his soccer accounts, and then he went on the defensive, calling his mum a whore and all this kind of stuff.
Like, what if your mom was a prostitute or something?
And
it was like,
this is the kind of the tactics what he'll use. He'll deflect from the actual question and create this whole kind of story in itself to like distract you. And that was the highlight of like the show, was that it wasn't so much the question, it was what he responded with, and that was kind of like another story what he created to spin everything again. So it's very clever what he does, but not everyone can fall for it. And thankfully there is a group of people who don't fall for it. But in like the main, he does have so many loyal fans that no matter what he says, it doesn't really make any difference. And I don't
care.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll ever change, to be honest with you. I think Lou will always have his fans.
Well, he went on Calling All Beings and literally said that he was put into the community as counterintelligence. And you see all the co-hosts just like nodding and smiling and not even
cool
at what he just said. And we're just like, wow, you're such a hero and all this. It's like, did you guys not just hear what he just said in his own words? And everybody's like afterwards praising the interview and like, you okay?
Yeah, no, sorry. I just
okay.
Don't mind me. And thank God I'm wearing like waterproof mascara. But yeah, seriously, that's crazy.
It was crazy. And then the amount of like love and like praise that he got after the show and like all over Twitter and stuff. I just couldn't even handle it. I'm like, did you guys even listen to the interview? Or did you just like tune in for a minute and thought, wow, cool, he's done another interview and then left? Like, I don't get it. Cause if he said that directly to us, like on our show, we would have been like, I'm sorry, did you actually just admit to that then? And so like, then what's your agenda? What's the actual plan here? What do you really have in store for us then? What are you going to do with this information that you're collecting? And no questions whatsoever followed up from that. It was pretty crazy.
When I
still think of that.
I think the thing that's crazy, if you are truthful, if you have something that you want to put forward, you don't hide. It's like, and that's what I've seen with Brandon Fugel. It's like this: the second somebody calls him into question because he's absolutely full of crap, it's like, I'm going to block you on Twitter, or I'm going to say this about you, and da 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 da. And it's just like, okay, if you know your subject, if you have integrity, you can go on stage and debate anybody in the world and present your facts.
Of course,
and so it's like, you see, Elizondo he only promotes like a handful of people, and even then he's like, well, my NDA, well, I've got clearance and blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, if you seriously had that, you wouldn't be coming out in the public and talking about this. I know plenty of people who have had, all of these military clearances. They don't go out on YouTube and talk about it, or give little bits of information about it. And to me, for him to go out there and say that he's, strictly, I mean, this is like I quit my job because, oh my God, I want to get the truth out about UFOs. Really? Because you didn't even know the truth about UFOs when you were allegedly doing what you were doing, because you're promoting videos that are absolutely fake.
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. And and this is the thing, if he actually did know anything, he wouldn't be allowed to allude to anything at all. He wouldn't be allowed to go on, he wouldn't be on YouTube all the time talking to these podcasters, trying to allude to the fact that there's aliens behind the scene. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. And if you try to explain this to anyone else who's not involved in the topic, they would think you're talking shit, because it sounds stupid. It really does. It just sounds stupid.
Which, no way. I know.
There's just no way that he knows anything. There's no way.
Yeah, it's true.
And you know what? I'll be happy to be proven wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that he knows nothing.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet that people behind the scenes that have interacted with him would say that he knows nothing as well. And that's the thing. It's like, I remember I was speaking 2016 or 17 at the UFO Congress in Arizona. And this was when Tom DeLonge got Researcher of the Year. And I was sitting there like with a table with Dave Marler and Ted Rowe and all of these people. And like the second, Tom DeLonge got the award, everybody's like,
I can't believe that. I couldn't
oh
believe
my,
that.
I mean, everybody was just like,
what?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, okay, great, he's a cute rock star and stuff. And I'd seen him a couple years before that at the conference. Nobody even knew who he was, but it's just like, okay, so here he is, and okay, great. So he's got a platform. And I went to a site in Arizona where we did some research, and it was really, really fun. But we like sat there for days, like talking about, okay, here you've got this guy, he's got these Rosicrucian connections. He's got all of these connections with NASA or John Alexander or Chris, oh God, what's his name? Chris and his son.
Mellon, you're talking
Chris
about?
Mellon?
Not Chris Mellon. Well, I mean, that too, but Chris, oh my gosh, he's the fellow who's the big experiencer.
Wait. No, I don't know if I'm.
Yeah. Bledsoe.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Bledsoe. Yes.
Bledsoe.
And so it's like, it was just like, hearing about all this stuff. And at that point in my life, I was like being approached and talked to. I mean, like with all of these guys, like every day, it's like, okay, you need to be a Rosicrucian. You need to go down this spiritual path. You need to do A, B, C, and D. And it was just like, what the heck crap is happening? And then Tom DeLonge, and then the article in the New York Times, and then, Leslie Kean and Chris Mellon, who clearly have major political connections in a specific party. And, all of these things. And then you look at the WikiLeaks, and you look at what happened with Julian Assange, and why would he be leaking specific information that would support a political narrative? I don't know, I'm coming crazy. But I mean, it's just, the whole thing is so fascinating. And to me, right here at the end of the day, I will seriously tell you that I don't believe ET is here. I believe that this is all, the whole subject has been manipulated and used and abused by people with a political and financial motivation. And then always the people that are just delusional and want to believe that, the hot, tall Nordic is coming in to go to bed with them and tuck him in at night. I mean,
yeah. I mean, that's where I kind of lean as well. And I did used to want to believe that something was here and something was coming to Earth and interacting with people. But the more you kind of research and speak to people and kind of peek behind the curtain, because when before we came online, we were doing this in like the background. And since being online, we've managed to speak to people, and get to see behind the curtain. And there's nothing. It's all just manipulation.
Yeah.
you know, and we talked a little bit about this on the show last night with Melon, and I think you're on in the chat for a bit. But it's all a political thing to me. It's all used as like a propaganda tool, and we kind of highlighted this a little bit last night. But if like you look at the connections between, you know, what's happened in the last 5 years with TTSA, with the QAnon kind of movement, with the tensions with Ukraine and things like this, you know, all of these things have kind of, and then we had the UFO report, of course, during the lockdown.
Yeah.
Like all of these things have converged into one kind of place. And that's all planned to me. I mean, it does sound a bit like a conspiracy theory, of course. And, you know, there will be some people who will say that to me, but that's fine. But there are those connections there, which you can't ignore for me. So this topic, you have to be wary of these connections, and you have to dig. This goes deeper than just the UFOs, if that makes sense. You need to dig beneath that and look what's going on behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, more. A lot of key players.
Yeah.
Who have big financial motivations for sure. It's not to say that aliens aren't out there, of course. Like,
oh yeah, they're out there somewhere.
I think it would be
for sure
more like silly to not believe that something is out there if you think of how big the universe is. But I mean, I don't know. We aren't even united as a planet. So what makes us think that even if aliens were coming and they happen to find Earth, what would make them come to us? And why would they actually want to interact with us? Like, we're so barbaric to each other. There's still wars going on in 2022. I mean, we're clearly not even at the level to be engaging in a conversation with. We think that we're advanced, but we're still very far behind until we actually unite as like humans.
And also as well, I mean, you've got the alien kind of hybrid theory, there's so many people who seem to believe, but yet the aliens have been coming here for thousands of years apparently, and they still haven't managed to kind of decipher like a human, decipher like the DNA, but they can travel all of this distance and through like a dimension, but yet they can't decipher the DNA of the human.
Babies.
Makes no sense at all. It makes absolutely no sense at
Show
all.
us the hybrid babies.
Don't open that up to your questions. Because God knows what we could get.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting, and I'm so lucky that I've got the archive that I do, because I can go back and look at the National Enquirer from the 50s, the 60s, and I mean, all of this is just like, oh my God. I mean, here's you know, like just some ridiculous story followed by another ridiculous story, and it's just, you know, at what point in time do people not understand that I mean, great, this is an interesting topic. And of course, there are a lot of unknowns, but the unknowns that we've been presented with are, you know, promoted and bought and paid for by specific people who have an agenda and who are making money. And even like, I look back at the X-Files, which is one of my favorite shows. I loved that. I mean, that was back in the, you know, 80s, 90s. That was like so cool. And now I look back at it, first 2 episodes, they're talking about cattle mutilations. And I'm like, oh my God, did you guys like read Linda's book, or like, what do you, I mean, it's like, holy crap. I mean, they're like totally, I mean, just promoting stuff that I don't know. And I think that got into our psyche. And so it made us maybe a little bit more susceptible to believe this kind of crap.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that we've said it so many times on the show, but like how, you know, TV and movies through the decades are definitely used to like condition us and get us used to these ideas and thoughts. And you can see that, like, look what you just said about X-Files, and look at what we still talk about today, and what we're still investigating today is cattle mutilation and things like that. So you can definitely see where the government probably has some sort of play in certain films and TV series that, you know, do get us accustomed to this stuff, and, you know, make us maybe question everything or believe anything, and to see, how can the public be manipulated in a different way without them even knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've got to ask a question because Scotty has been very patient. So, have you guys heard about the mystery airships, Zeppelin balloon UFOs from the late 1800s, early
Yeah.
1900s?
Yeah, we had, well, we've done our research on it, but we had Michael Schratt on the show a few months ago, and he's like a UFO historian. He's done some great stuff on like the airship things, and yeah, I mean that stuff goes way back. And there's a thing called the Sodero Aero Club, I think it was called, in 1850, and it was a Romanian engineer. I can't remember his name now, but there was this kind of secretive group of aviators who did design all these advanced kind of airships. And like the 1800s, especially, there was a huge rise in all these airships. And, you know, and people tend to forget that it's not just about planes and drones, but there's so many things like airships and blimps, what people can use to fly too. And, you know,
and flying saucer shapes as well.
Yeah.
Like we did a whole, like we pulled up this website and it showed like these airships through like the century basically, and even through the 1800s. And like, it's pretty incredible what they came up with, you know, over 100 years ago. Or more.
I mean, I think some of this goes back to even earlier than the 1800s. I mean, there's a guy called Strange Recon, Jeff. I'm not sure if you've spoken to him before, but he did a show on the airships a while ago, and I think he brought one up from like 1700s. So this stuff goes back, you know, for like a very long time, and you know that stuff has obviously been improved upon throughout the years. So who knows what's up there? You know, who knows the things we've made?
Yeah,
exactly. Who knows the things we've made? And I love that. And I've just got to just read a comment from Pinzer Flactum. I'm sure I'm completely massacring that name, but
Lindsay,
So I think we're giving these players too much credit, as if they're any smarter than the rest of us. They're probably not even a bigger scheme, LOL. And so, I mean, that is a good point. We are probably giving these players too much credit because they, you know, probably, yeah.
That's true. I don't think they're that smart. I mean, I think, you know, and this is why not everyone's fooled by this, and also it's why we've got to remember that UFO Twitter isn't the world. It's a small part of the internet, really. When you think about it, yeah,
you're gonna have to pay for people's therapy.
Yeah,
to say that.
So this is why it's important to kind of look at things from a distance at times, and remember that most people do not believe this stuff. You know, this is like reduced to like a small part of the internet effectively. And, you know, it is an interesting thing to talk about, and we'd love to research it and talk about it, but we'd all have to remember that most people think it's a load of crap too.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, you've got to remember that, you know, Lou Elizondo and Tom DeLong, etc., they could not get away with telling their stories to like most people in the world. But they just would not buy it for a second.
Well, and I think that brings up a great point. I mean, I think people that are in the military would look at them and go, "What are you talking about?" And so that again brings into question, like, really, are they still involved with the military, or are they just grifters out there promoting their stuff? I don't know. It's fascinating, but I want to just show a little bit, because there was a very interesting story this week or last week in the Deseret News. And so I want to just give this again. This is fair use. This is the Deseret News. We are talking about Brandon Fugel. There was a story about Brandon Fugel, and it was very interesting. And I want to just point out this little clip. So it was an article interviewing him as we zip around the top of Mount Timpanogos over Sundance Resort. Fugel, who recently remarried, describes his wedding last fall as the scenic mountain venue. He and his wife Kristen helicoptered in the event. Air Supply played the receptions. Guests included Utah Governor Gary Herbert, voice actor Jesse Harnell, and Green Beret Nate Boyer. As sources tells me they left the event ruminating on the various guests' in attendance, industry leaders, celebrities, and political friends of Fugel. You're back. You're back. Yeah, sorry. You guys are having a break. Hello. So
Yeah, I know.
So I mean, here you've got, this article, and I mean, obviously there are a lot of articles about that, and I want to thank again or acknowledge the Deseret News who put this article out. Did a great interview with Mr. Fugel, but it is very interesting to see that here he is at a wedding, his wedding, and he's leaving the wedding, and his most important thought is the fact that he's got all these celebrities there. I mean, what?
It's not a surprise. I mean,
well, isn't it funny that celebrities can go visit Skinwalker Ranch and have no repercussions somehow? Like they don't get sick or have any sort of,
ghosts, which
no ghosts or anything, and they probably pay millions of dollars or whatever to have it promoted.
But it does tie into the mindset. I think this is not the point you're trying to make there. It ties into kind of the mindset what Brandon Fugel wants to promote with the ranch. It's all about this promotion of this hotspot, this paranormal kind of hotspot he wants to create. And we've kind of we've talked about this in the background for a while, but we would not be surprised if we saw some sort of like a theme park there, or like a hotel being built or something. I mean, that's the impression I get. It's all just our opinions, really. But the impression I get is that he wants to kind of turn this into some sort of like theme park, if that makes sense. And
only like 2 weeks after he purchased the property, he trademarked the name Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, so I mean, he does want it to. Well, in terms of Skinwalker Ranch, it is like a brand, really. I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make it into this big brand, right? Effectively. He can see a market. I mean, just we've talked about it tonight. The amount of people who believe in this stuff. There's
Guy's comment is interesting. He's having a music festival there. Is that true?
UFO Joe Brandon Fugel when?
Right there.
Oh.
He's having a music festival there.
Interesting. Well, yeah.
I mean, how can you have a music festival with some place that's, infested with dino beavers and ghosts?
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all.
And skinwalkers and werewolves and, whatever else you want to throw in the mix.
Well, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. But this is the impression I get from Fugel, that he does want to turn it into this brand. And like we discussed before, I mean, there's so many people who believe in this stuff. It's incredibly easy to manipulate millions of people into doing something what you want them to do, and it's not even hard. And I think that's why the TV show exists. It's to gather, it's to gain interest in the ranch, to gain interest in the Skinwalker brand, etc., and get the public and his supporters to get behind the paywall and sign up to his website to get exclusive access and all this sort of thing. So to me, it's all about his brand and building his brand, and we haven't seen any proof from Skinwalker Ranch. I don't think we'll ever will, because there's nothing there.
Well, no, I mean, and I think when you look back at Brandon and his beginnings, obviously grew up in a specific place in Utah and came from a very LDS family, and the family Fugel and Sons, I mean, they were creating infrastructure, and his brothers still have a very important company that does do contracts that provide infrastructure all over the state. And Brandon always wanted to be one of those people who was like, okay, I need to be famous. I need to be out there. I'm going to be either in a band and have somebody. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but have you seen the video?
Which one?
The one music video.
Oh, Brandon Fugel.
Fugel?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, no.
But I think you need to play it if you can. Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can try to find this. I'm just like, I mean,
taken down though if you play the sound, because if it's music, I think YouTube.
Yeah, just mute it. We'll just skim it through so that way you don't get.
I just want to see the pictures of him.
Yeah. Let me just try to find this.
Crazy.
Oh my God!
So
he's somebody who boasts about his money, his his cool collector items that he's got in his house and things like that. So it doesn't really surprise me. I mean,
and that's
it's all about
I mean,
status for him.
It kind of is, and it's like so transparent. And I think when, you know, being somebody that is from Utah and has been involved in the business world, it's like when you meet with people, they're just like, first of all, he's not being truthful about what he's saying about his business accomplishments, and it's just very funny. So hang on, let's see if I can do this. This is God.
Yeah, I did not know this at all. So yeah, it's good.
It's gonna be comedy gold, I think.
I mean, this is like just a puppet show again, but again, I honestly can just say I don't feel bad about this because I was defending him. Oh dear God, and was thinking he was a very amazing person until I figured out he wasn't.
John Poe in the chat says he's sent you a link on Twitter apparently. So
okay, so I'm going to let's see, share.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. Appreciate
Can't wait
that.
for this. Oh God.
I don't know if I'm going to be doing this. This could be scary. Oh, I don't think I can do it. Dumb. Okay. Here we go. Watch out.
Oh my God.
Straight on his keyboard. Oh my God. Love it.
Is that like, my God.
Yeah, okay, so we just like
Mama said just to be kind. Just open your heart and tear them apart.
Let's not do that. No. Oh.
I can't believe I haven't seen this before. I can't believe I haven't seen this.
I mean,
It's a shame. It's a shame.
I don't know what happens in Provo when people are not drinking alcohol. I mean,
Oh my.
and I mean,
Oh God, I can't believe that.
So like comedy gold right there. Oh my God.
Okay, and I mean, I get it. We all make songs. We all write songs, and
we all want to have fun and whatever. That was
and
2010, but
things and dope. But I mean, and so yeah, I mean, so there you have it. I mean, I think this does show a need of a certain person to be surrounded by, you know, specific things and, be, you know, I mean, maybe you know what I mean? It's just like, there's no real substance there. It's him playing.
Yeah. I mean, what's his motivation for being, because, you know, we've got him in his band there. And then I think it was soon after that, didn't he get involved with Joe Firmage? Wasn't this soon after that?
Yes, and let's talk about Joe Firmage. I think that is a really, really great thing. So, I mean, Joe Firmage has been, you know, I mean, obviously Joe Firmage was from Utah. He is from Utah. my mother actually worked with him.
Wow, interesting.
And so, yeah, she was director of Fairchild Communications. Joe Firmage, when he first got his start, was in Eagle Gate Plaza, which is where Joe had his office space. And so Joe was like this, really brilliant child, 16, 17 years old, who creates this company. And then, he's got his mother there who's trying to protect him and different things. And then, Joe kind of goes off this path, but it is really fascinating to see how Joe has been used and abused by people like Fugel or Hal Puthoff or people like that are saying that Joe was the person that built them out of millions of dollars. And because he was, arrested for drunk driving, or because he was, gay, or whatever you have, he is an easy scapegoat.
Yeah.
And yet when you sit back and look at things, you think maybe, well, maybe he was just a scapegoat, because the people that were actually doing the things that are questionable were the people trying to frame him for that.
Yeah, I mean, we did a show on Joe Firmage. I think it was last week, and that's always like an interesting story for me, and it's a story and I think it's one of these stories what people just have completely forgotten about, or have chosen not to go back and remember, because all of the same stuff we're kind of seeing now, this happened with Joe Firmage, etc. We had his company into NASA, I think it was, and Motion Sciences. Mm-hmm. Basically like the TTSA before. TTSA. Yeah. So for me, it just shows that history does repeat itself, and it shows how easily. And Joe Firmage, like you said there, Joe Firmage wasn't a dumb guy. He was like a really smart guy, a clever guy. He did like a lot of stuff with the .com kind of era. So this wasn't a dumb person, and it just shows you how easily people can be played and manipulated. And it's a story which we all should remember in some ways, and it just plays into all of this manipulation thing, which we like to highlight a lot. And yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on all that story?
My thoughts in all that story are just so interesting, because again, my mother knew Joe and his mother, and really thought that he was a wonderful, smart kid that was manipulated. I mean, that just came into all of this wealth and just didn't know what to do with that. And then, when I was first approached by a specific group of people, one of the big things is that I was told by specific people, whether it is an ex-deputy sheriff or an ex-police officer or an ex-financial chief, I was moved forward to evidence to support the fact that Brandon Fugel had in fact been bilked out of millions of dollars, had at other people. And as I look back at all this, I mean, it is freaking nuts. It is absolutely nuts. And I'm glad I've got it all documented and put out there to people that can have this. But it was just like, okay, here's a person coming in here and saying, yeah, Joe Firmage bilked me out of millions of dollars. Here's a phone number where you can call his assistant, his secretary. So I call his secretary, and this was like, what, 4 years ago. She was allegedly living in hiding. She was afraid for her life because Joe and his team were threatening to kill him and threatening to kill her. And she said that they, as in all of the people involved, not just Firmage, but they were funneling money overseas, offshore. They were laundering money offshore. And so that is what she said about all of these people, and including some of the people that are involved that we've mentioned tonight. So, I mean, of course, I'm like getting information like this and hearing this and just going, okay, I mean, I don't know what's true. I don't know what's going on. And this is way above my pay scale. and I had heard, obviously about Pandolfi,
Yeah.
but, I think that this wasn't Pandolfi. These were other people. These were people that I'm talking about. And when I went to, a little over a year ago, I went to a dinner at the Alta Club. And that dinner was with business professionals, and Brandon Fugel and his new wife were there. And I was there, and a couple other people. And the first thing that Brandon talked about in that dinner conversation was the fact that he was, literally, and I think this was so strange. It's like, well, Joe Firmage built billions of dollars out of people. And I'm like sitting here, it's like, okay, you're at a table full of 12 people in your business community, and professors and people in the media, and the first thing out of your mouth is you're going to say that somebody bilked you out of millions of dollars. What? I mean, it was just so strange. And so I don't know, that just caught me as odd. And I think that when people look back that have been approached by that team, they can go back and say the first thing that they were approached with was the fact that Firmage was allegedly bilking people out of millions of dollars, and that everybody had to keep that quiet because nobody wanted anyone to know that Fugel was involved in this kind of business dealings, because that would make his family look bad. And then you can go back and I'm just rambling on here. I'm going to be in trouble tonight. But it's like, then you can go back and look at the fact that in the article from the Deseret News, there's a very subtle paragraph about Brandon's wife at the time not knowing that he had owned Skinwalker Ranch and keeping that from her. And then when you go down and read the comments, and it's like, well, okay, because he's not very ethical. So here's a person who's pretending or allegedly trying to put forward information about a person, Joe Firmage, who can't really defend himself. And then you've got a person who, is carrying on publicly in potentially immoral ways, and then, lying to his family about the properties that he owns. I don't know. Go figure. I've said too much, and I'm going to be in hiding for the next month.
No, it's all good. I mean, but this is what happens, and this is why. I mean, we had a conversation on Skype. Yes, with you and Jack as well, and it's something which we all talked about. It is kind of hard to toe the line and not to say too much, because you do. It is scary, because you do kind of fear that you are going to be attacked again, if that makes sense. But don't be scared of that. That's what I'm trying to say, because it's only words at the end of the day. It is.
Well, there are some pretty, unstable people out there who will go to lengths, to do things, but it's we need to bring our voices together to kind of be stronger than all of those people trying to take the truth down and try to hide what's really out there.
Exactly. Yeah. But we'll probably get some shit as well for saying the stuff we say, but it's and it kind of takes me to what I wanted to bring up about Lou's lawyer, which is kind of,
my God,
yes, kind of threw me for six a little bit, and like a lot of people in the community, how effectively what he's saying is that you can't question him now, otherwise he could potentially sue you effectively. And I mean, what's your opinion on that? Because for me, it's just absolutely crazy how you can't question his claims, but he hasn't provided any proof for his claims. So what the hell are you supposed to do then?
I think he's a bully. I think he's using his, I'm going to sue you, or I'm going to have some guy who's, pretending to be a lawyer, or who is a lawyer, get in there and, rough you up. And just, it's ridiculous, because I will tell you that gosh, like maybe 6 years ago, I was stalked and harassed and threatened. I had my life threatened by another public figure who was completely, absolutely insane. And I went to a lawyer and I said, okay, here's this fellow. This is what he's saying in his radio show. He's going to conferences. He's threatening to kill me. What do I do? And they said, there's nothing you can do. You're a public figure. And so it was just like, okay, that's great. But I think at the end of the day, nobody has said anything specifically, John Greenwald, about Lou Elizondo that isn't, if you went to court, I mean, that the burden of proof would be on Elizondo.
Yeah, I mean,
because he's making claims that can't be backed up.
True.
Exactly.
And all Greenwald did, I mean, we watched a show yesterday, and he went through, the whole of Lou's complaint, and he read the whole thing. He read each word. And, so all John did was effectively just read Lou's own words. So I don't get how anyone can say that he's attacking Lou Elizondo. Like, it doesn't make sense whatsoever to me. But it's scary how Lou has gone to these kind of lengths to threaten someone or put this out there, but you can't question his claims at all. Like, to me, that's just very, very wrong.
Well, I mean, he's been very good since the beginning of all of this, of like kind of insulating himself and I'm the DOD guy, I'm counter intel, and no, I can't say this or I can't say that, or he'll go to different conferences and it's like, oh God, you can't put that microphone on my shirt, but I've got a bulletproof vest. I mean, it's like, my family's been threatened. Okay, who's hasn't? I mean, mine has. And so it's like he creates this fictional crap that it's great. I mean, okay, that's awesome. I mean, he portrays himself to be a patriot, somebody who loves the country, somebody who doesn't acknowledge or doesn't want to deal with bullying and harassment, and yet he is a hypocrite. He talks about socialists, he talks about liberals, and promotes ideology that is definitely very questionable. And so it's like, why are you doing that when you are actually a person who is allegedly trying to promote UFOs, trying to promote research about UFOs? Because he's done none of that. All he's done is come out there and infiltrate certain groups. And, I mean, it's like, hey, oh gosh, this guy's talking to me. We're so cool. We're on the in group. And then, I mean, it's like you can create these minions that are going out there to do things. And it's like, this has nothing to do with UFOs. If it did, if he was truly what he said he is, there would be more proof than a letter from Harry Reid.
Of course, yeah, and that's like the thing. What's crazy to me, it's not even proof; it's a letter. There's nothing to verify a single claim of what Lou said. Nothing. In 5 years, he's produced zero. And to me, I don't get how even his supporters are not beginning to question this. To me, and that's why, I mean, when we've talked in the background, we're convinced that a lot of his supporters are just bots anyway. They're just paid for bots, effectively, just trying to retweet his stories, etc., trying to like the stuff he says, just to promote the fact that what his word is the truth. But in the reality, I mean, there's nothing to back anything up. And I thought it was illuminating in some ways when Green Street did his piece on Lou a few months back. And, he went into, his kind of story, the fact that he was involved with Lou Elizondo, he was involved with like the inner circle, if that makes sense. And you do get the love bombing from all of his supporters, saying that you're doing a great job and you're going to be the new face of disclosure, etc., etc. So you do have this kind of, you do feel important effectively when you are with Lou, like, and you are circle. And Green Street did a great job. Green Street did a great job, I thought, in kind of saying all that stuff. And I think it should have been an eye opener for people, but it wasn't. It just kind of in some ways, it just made them even worse, these people. So, for me, I don't know where this story ends with Lou Elizondo. I mean, I don't know if he's going to continue to be involved with the topic or he's trying to plan his exit. I'm not sure, because he does have his book to come out, of course. I mean, what's your thoughts on Lou? Do you think he's going to be staying? Do you think he's going to be a part of this community for the long run, or do you think he's already trying to leave it? I guess I'm not sure.
You know what? I mean, I've seen so many of these dipshits that are like there for the time and eternity. I have no doubt that he's going to be grifting. And sorry, excuse my language. I think I've said bad words tonight more than I usually have, but it's just like, I've seen really, really, really good people who have been investigating UFOs for decades. I've seen people who are military veterans. I've seen people who just want answers. And it's like Lou Elizondo does this great thing. It's like, wait a minute. Okay, Elizondo wants to talk to you. And so he has this group of people reach out to other people, and then they're going to talk. And then it's like, oh, they feel so important. And, I mean, there are many other cults and different mind manipulation programs that react the same way. They pull the same. This is a big kind of a business thing. This is what you do.
The cult of Lou.
Right. And so, here you've got, hey, well, I mean, he's going to talk to you. And it's like, Holy Mother Mary, baby Joseph.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, it's like, oh my God, block out 1 to 2 and we're going to talk to him. And then they talk to him and he's got his sycophants, like all around and doing defense for him. And then he's going to promise funding for this, or he's going to do A, B, C, and D. But yet at the end of the day, when you look back at his public charade, you see a fellow that has gone on the record promoting things that haven't been verified. Mm-hmm. You see his, I mean, it's just like, oh gosh, that's a balloon. Good job, guys. You guys are like you guys are the highly paid. You guys are the best of the best in the UFO world for our intelligence community. And you're promoting a Batman balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to say anything to that. And then people just like, well, they were just making mistakes. No, they were supposedly the best of the best, and they're promoting Batman. And then you've got, $22 million with Bigelow, and you've got all of that crap, it's crap. I mean, it's like nobody has found anything out. And so it's like you've got the same group of people who, in my opinion, have political motivations, who are just grifters, and they're just going out there. And I think Elizondo is prime to be the top of the grifters. And he's at every conference now, and he's talking to people that have archives, and he wants to show support. And it's like people like, oh my God, Elizondo's going to talk to me. Ooh. I mean, it's like, God, I felt that way when I met William Shatner. I mean, I thought I was going to shart my pants, but I didn't. But I mean, it's like, sorry, I'm being naughty. So, but it's just like, but it's just like, I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. It's sorry, this guy his credentials cannot be verified. The only person that has verified anything he's done is Harry Reid. Yes. So now he's going out with thanks to Danny Sheehan, who is just a gem, and they're putting things out on the carpet. I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And like you've said, it's the fact that we can't even, the first thing you should do is be able to verify yourself. And you can't even do that. So how can you trust him? You can't even do the basics. So how can you expect to trust him? Like, to me, it just doesn't make sense how you can. Yeah. Because he hasn't backed a single of his claims, not one of his claims. And we can't say for sure what he did. We can't say for sure who he is and who he works for. So how can you trust him? So it just doesn't
Ask
make
George Knapp. News release at 6:00. George Knapp will give you all the unclassified, the declassified briefs that nobody else can see. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like when you work with all of these people, when you're in a logical, normal world, there are protocols to all of this. And when you can't verify your identity, when you can't show all of these things, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and like Steve says in the chat there about the, that time on Kurt's show when he pretended to have beer, but it was actually juice in his
He
beer.
said it was apple juice
bottle.
in his beer bottle.
Yeah, I mean, if like he's lying about that, then what else is he doing? It's just ridiculous.
He's just a clown. Everybody, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show, guys.
well, and I have to say, I mean, and not to be naughty, but I am, because I'm just like, I think like today I was just sitting here thinking, I'm just done. Like I'm done with, I mean, I've been in this for a long, long time. I believe in the people that get into chat. I believe that there's some incredible people, and we deserve to find the truth. And what I've seen decade after decade are a handful of people who are willing to use our beliefs to manipulate us and to really screw us over. And I think that's really wrong. And I think with Bigelow, you saw that kind of thing with him buying databases, like I mentioned, during the middle of the show, like the Roper study, the Victoria Alexander study about religious figures. I mean, they've been picking up data. And it's like, how do we take these people who believe in UFOs or conspiracy theories? How do we manipulate them? And how do we get them to believe A, B, C, and D? And then we can show them or like point them to Coast, where we're talking about conspiracy theories. We're talking about UFOs. And then we're going to bring on Roger Stone, or we're going to bring on Stuart Rhodes, or we're going to bring on all of these people who are Alex Jones, people who are a threat to our democracy. And the Coast to Coast is decade after decade brought on people like that. And it has really been, unfortunately, a bad thing for our country, for each of us individually. And I think the UFO community is really responsible for promoting some of these thoughts and beliefs, and not having the wherewithal to stand up and say, hey, you know what, this isn't right. This has nothing to do with studying UFOs. This is your political agenda. Get your FEMA camps out of my discussion. For sure. And I'm sorry, I'm just like, so
no, it's okay. I mean,
Mamma mia.
we feel the same, and that's why it's good how there is a group of people like us who can talk about this and get your frustrations out, because it is frustrating to see, and it is frustrating how you do have to kind of hold back at times when you do have to go online and speak to people, because most people don't think this way. Most people do believe Lou. And it is kind of hard to hold your tongue at times when like you're online. So it is good to get it out. It's like a therapy thing for us a lot of the time. When we do our shows, we do see it as like a therapy thing at sometimes too. So it's important, and we all have the right to say how we feel, and we all have the right to our opinions. And some people might not agree with them, which is fair enough. But we all have the right to speak our minds, and we'll continue to do that. Without a doubt.
Sure.
Freedom of speech. Yes.
Yeah. We don't have it anymore, but for now,
well, we do. I mean, I don't know. Only the people that have guns have freedom of speech. But anyway, it's really good. I know. I'm sorry. So, anyway, thank you, UFO John Doe, for your great contribution. We all need to go to the campsite above Skinwalker Ranch, call out the frauds, and do a live show. That would be fun.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Because isn't it funny? All the paranormal things that happen at Skinwalker Ranch just stay within the perimeters of this ranch. they know not to go down the street, of course.
And then of course they vanish
Don't travel.
and then of course they've gone away now until the next season appears as well. So
Yeah.
they'll come back.
They
next
know
season.
to hibernate until next season, of course.
Well, hopefully they've got a better. I don't know. I could be so naughty. Yeah. I mean, and what do you think when you look at the show?
I mean, we struggle to watch it.
Yeah, we don't really watch the show, to be honest. We did watch some of it so that way we could do an actual show about it. And it was, painful to even watch. And I mean, Travis Taylor is, I mean, I don't know. He seems like a TV scientist. I can't believe it was finally brought to light that he was the lead scientist of the UAPTF. I mean, that's telling as well. It's like, why is it all the same little circle of people?
Well, I think that was
like
happy
that came out either.
Yeah,
no,
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was Green Street. He posted like a clip from this interview what all the guys at Skinwalker Ranch did, and it was when Taylor was kind of telling them about his work with the UAPTF, and they all looked annoyed to me. They all looked really surprised and taken aback by this. So I don't think they knew, but I'm not sure if even Brandon knew. I mean, what's like your thoughts on that connection there?
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
I don't think
surprised at all, but who knows? That could have also been tactic for, to save face in public. I mean, who knows?
I think
but
when you're paid
the aspect which makes it entertaining for the show. Because I saw Scott say he has lots of enthusiasm. He does. He has like a big personality, which is great for TV, but I mean, why wasn't there was there a whole group of scientists on the UAPTF? Why was he the lead? I mean, he's the best that America's got.
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I don't know. It's just very strange.
I mean, if this was like a genuine kind of investigation, and they genuinely did think something was an alien spacecraft, Travis Taylor would be at the bottom of the list when it comes to people. Let's be honest about that. He would not be the person they would choose. They would get the best of the best to investigate this, the best of the best, and it would be a worldwide effort, a coordinated effort, and you'd hear about it all over the world. It'd be talked about by world leaders, etc. But it gets reduced to YouTube and online blogs and the Daily Mail and the Sun newspaper. So to me,
okay, don't stop. Don't. I mean, seriously, I don't want to hear your sense.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear you talking sense.
It's true though, and this is why I know it's just lies. Because why would it? If there was this groundbreaking news about there's aliens here and they're interacting with us, and there's a ranch in Utah which has ghosts and werewolves and portals and all sorts of stuff, why would it be reduced to the History Channel? It would be investigated by teams of scientists from all over the world.
True.
Daily.
And I mean, and honestly, like the whole place would be shut down, and you couldn't fly airplanes over the property, and I mean, it's like I mean, the shape-shifting werewolf, and I mean, just all of that is so. I mean,
it's crazy. And
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that I ever believed this. It's embarrassing that I was, involved with somebody that actually talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like when you look at the fact that Skinwalker Ranch was bought by a bunch of white guys, and here you've got Skinwalker, which is a term that should be held in reverence because of a community and their belief systems. It's just the whole thing is so garish and gross, but that it is what it is, and we know it's all a bunch of crap.
And it does feel like you're bashing your head against a brick wall, and this is where the frustration comes in at times, and and this is why it's difficult to be online and talk to these people, because it's just so obvious that it's bullshit. It really is, but of course you can't prove it's bullshit, but it is.
And then you get people being like, why can't you just be more open-minded? And it's like, it's not about being open-minded. Show me some proof. Like, it's not up to us to prove that it is real. It's up to you or not real. It's up to you to prove that it is. You know, if you're making these high claims, you need to back it up with evidence. It's just
the burden of proof
how
is
it
on
is.
the claimant.
It's just the way it should be, the way it is. And, you know, of course, if we're wrong, like, we're happy to be wrong.
Yeah,
like,
I'll be happy if there's UFOs and portals.
We're not going to be sulking and
would.
pouting and, you know, quit our YouTube channel. We'd be happy to be wrong and to see some evidence that's actual evidence and not, you know, little blurry dots in the sky saying this is what it is. It's like, wow. You know, I mean, we've seen things too, like that we can't necessarily explain, but like we've said before, we wouldn't, first of all, expect anybody to believe whatever we saw. And secondly, we have no proof of it. So again, it doesn't even, to us, it doesn't count to anybody else. We saw it together and that was it. Like it's just what it is. And then we've also had things like separately, but it's just, you know, we don't put that expectation out there either. So other people shouldn't as well.
I mean, it's pretty simple to me. If you're going onto TV and you're going onto the news, etc., and you're saying a huge claim, the burden of proof is on you to prove the claim. That's it. It's not up to a person like us or yourself, Erica, to prove that they're wrong. It's up to them to prove their claim. And that's how it should stay. And that's what kind of keeps me sane at the end of the day. You know, when I do get abuse online, which I do get, you know, more and more as our channel grows, etc., we do get a lot more abuse, which is fine. I mean, I don't really care about the abuse. It's, you know, at the end of the day, it's people who I'm never going to see in real life and they're on like the internet. But, you know, I think it is important to kind of highlight that the burden of proof is on the claimant and it always will be.
And I think that's really important. And I think, you know, when you've got somebody like who is alleging it to be the most prominent businessman and blah, 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 and brokering all these deals and yada, 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 even some of the claims that he's making in his professional career can be checked and there are questions there. So he's very adept at creating a persona, and marketing is a good thing. But back up, check up his claims. I think that's most fascinating, and I think it's like, you know, with the ranch and seeing the way he specifically is reacted to that. It's like somebody's asking a question. And it's, you know, okay, I'm going to talk to you privately because I'm a really, really super nice guy and yada, yada, yada. But then you cross the line and then I'm totally, you know, disconnecting from you. And he did that with me. I mean, I was blocked on Twitter, which is great. His big story was that I was mad because I wasn't on the TV show, which is like, actually, thank you for doing me a favor because, you know, and so...
Now I'm not associated with that.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's when you look at somebody's behavior and you look at all the articles, look at how he's been interviewed, look at the statements he makes, look at the people involved around the ranch, look at the business dealings, look at the governor, look at the former governor, look at the COVID relief funding, look at all of these things that are really important because that paints a bigger picture. And so to me, when people are looking at UFO stuff, you've got to not just look at a single case. You have to look at the people involved. You have to look at their political connections, their business connections, their religious connections. You have to take all of that into account because that's going to give you a bigger picture and a very important picture, which we need to do in the UFO community. So,
yeah, oh, definitely.
I don't know.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to know where things are going to go next. I mean, what's your thoughts on the upcoming year? Because we've got, I think it's on the, is it the 31st of October? We've got some sort of report what's going to be coming out. So that's only in a couple of months. I mean, what's like your thoughts on that? Do you think we're going to see anything at all from this report coming out?
Oh boy. You know what? I have no idea. I don't think, I mean, at the end of the day, for me, I don't feel that government knows what we would like them to know. I don't think they understand this. I think they're getting briefings from people like Jeremy Corbell. And, you know, I mean, it's like,
very telling.
You know, you've got yeah, people giving them information and people on the floor discussing stuff that is complete crap. But at least they did say that Jeremy Corbell's videos were nonsense. And so for me, looking at my archive and going back through history, again, it's like this subject has been used for political to obfuscate a lot of things. I don't think we know what's going on. I don't think we've ever put money into finding out what's going on. I mean, we're sending a lot of satellites up there. We're space hotels. We're doing all of these things. If there was a threat to all of us, we wouldn't be doing that, and that would be on mainstream news. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the biggest threat are things from other countries and different technologies that are coming over here and flying around nuclear installations and monitoring our activities. So
for sure. And I think another point, what doesn't get highlighted enough for me is like the drug world and like the amount of money what's in like the drug world and the stuff and the clever kind of ways which they use to get drugs across countries and across borders, etc. Subs and aircraft and drones. And I think this is a big kind of industry what doesn't get highlighted enough as a possible reason as to why they're trying to investigate this stuff now as well. I think there's a lot of kind of connections to the drug world too, potentially.
Well, and I think too, like what are your thoughts about cryptocurrency? And
it's a weird one because there has been a lot of increase. I mean, I think even at the Utah symposium, which was a few months ago now,
Crypto Chris Leno.
Yeah, they had the UAP Society kind of pitch there with Leto and whoever else is involved with it, which I don't agree with. I mean, I've read up on NFTs a bit, and I think it's still a very kind of a volatile market. And at the end of the day, I mean, you're paying for something which isn't verifiable. It's a UAP. We still don't know what UAPs are. So you're trying to pin that to a volatile kind of a currency as well. And look at the people who are behind this. I mean, you've had people like Peter Thiel, who are showing a big interest, and he's like a big person in the crypto world.
Right.
And you've got to look at the motivations behind why these people would be involved.
Especially with what that one was. They wanted like $3,000 or $3,500 up front. And then they said you'll get some exclusive mail.
Yeah, this is the UAP Society thing. Yeah.
There's other people on Twitter selling like NFT pictures for like $75, which are like really shit pictures. Like don't even look. They're not even worth $75.
Well, I know what I'll be doing later tonight.
Yeah. So I mean, and I mean it's your money. So like, people have the right to spend it however they want. It's just, I don't know. It is very iffy. I think I'm not for it right now.
No, I think it's like a volatile
maybe
market.
In the future, but
it's a volatile market, and the NFT world is connected to a lot of shady people as well. From I don't want to name the country, but I think you know the country I'm talking about. There's a lot of connections with a country beginning with R, let's say, and I think that kind of world you need to be very kind of wary of it and the connections there for sure.
And I think that's like such a great thing to talk about, because to me, when I'm investigating UFOs, I'm not looking at UFOs. I'm looking at a larger global perspective, and I'm looking at the way, this is the way we acted during the Cold War. These are games that we played. This is the way Russian propaganda spreads throughout a country. This is how it is, moving through the 70s, 80s, 90s. Here it is now. And we have, a lot of, we need to be very concerned about the way the UFO community has been used to promote Russian propaganda. And people are just not even, they're just not even clued into this. And I remember like 4 years ago, there was a conference over in Russia, and there was one person from each continent that went over there. I think I've got a picture of that. I'll have to find it and show that. But, it was just like, here we are. This is Russia. This conference is sponsored by Russia and the Chinese. And all you UFO guys, come over here and let's talk about it. So are you guys like sharing UFO information? Are you guys sharing information on how to come back here and promote really dangerous rhetoric? I mean, this is just, it's insane. And I think you cannot, and I never want to go into politics, because I think we should be able to investigate the subject and study this and move away from that. But you cannot go back from 47 on and say that the politics and all of this has not been embedded in this subject. And it has, and it is. And it is being used now to manipulate people. And it's sad.
It is sad. And, we spoke to TD Barnes last week or the week before, the guy who worked on he worked at Area 51 and all these special kind of
projects in the CIA.
And he went into the fact that, all these guys who work there, they don't believe in this stuff at all. Like, they know for a fact that the stuff what's flying around, the stuff we see on radar, that's just us. We're trying to, it's effectively this decades-long war with the Russians, effectively. And it's played out within the military, it's played out within the media, and it's all about confusing each side. That's what it's all about. So, for me, when you speak to people like that, who kind of sift through all the bullshit and tell you straight up, this is what it is, and follow the money. Effectively, those were his words. And this is a person who's good friends with George Knapp, who lived next door to Harry Reid as well, which we didn't know, but he lived next door to Harry Reid, and
he said he'd never vote for him.
And even TD Barnes was saying, look, I would never vote for that guy at all. So when people say it like that, of course it's a disinfo thing, of course it's a propaganda thing. And to not ignore the connections like you've highlighted within the media and etc. And this is going on for decades. This is like pre-Cold War stuff since the 40s, effectively. And, since the Second World War, when the Second World War broke up, effectively, you had you had the Soviet Union, you had America, and all the German scientists went to America or like Russia. And pretty much since then, they've kind of been at war with each other. And all these kind of next level, in terms of the Nazis, they were like geniuses and the propaganda thing, and you had people like Joseph Mengele, who went to Russia and worked for the Soviet Union. These were people who were like mass manipulators of people. And you've got to go back into history and look at where it all started with these kind of connections there and how this plays out within the media. It goes deeper than just these flying objects. There's a huge industry involved with UFOs.
Yes, there is. And I'm so glad that you guys actually see this, because I just, like I said, when I'm looking through my files and I read messages, emails from Kehoe or letters from Kehoe to Druffel and all these different people, Barry Goldwater, all of these things talking about communism and talking about people who are queer. It's just like, okay. You can just see how this has been a part of the subject for a long, long time. And I think that's sad. So anyway, UFO John Doe, thank you for your donation. So who do you guys think in the UFO space is credible?
Do you mean in terms of the the celebrities or just like the researchers? John Doe.
We're all celebrities here.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
In terms of this, I don't really.
Somebody's going to clip that. I'm just joking.
It's difficult because in terms of the main players, I don't really believe anybody, if I'm honest, because no one's really provided any proof for their claims.
Yeah, we just follow the information and what's actual evidence that's out there.
That's a good answer. But what we tend to do is follow the researchers like yourself, Erica, people like Jack Brewer. There's a couple in the chat like Steve Long, he's always doing some good stuff and good research. So I tend to look at the researchers more than the people who are telling the story, if that makes sense. Because so far the people who have told the story haven't given us anything. So it's difficult to to put your hat on someone. But
it's hard to trust people. I mean,
yeah,
not that we think every single person is not trustworthy. Of course, you know, that would be wrong to say as well. But yeah, we
follow
don't,
the information is a good answer, to be honest with you. Follow the information, not the people. Yeah,
that's what we try to do anyway.
Well, and I think you guys are exceptional at doing that, and I'm just like impressed every time I hear your show. You guys have been digging into things, and I'm like, wow. I mean, for you, I mean, you just started this like over a year ago, and how
a year ago.
Under a year, yeah.
Oh my
publicly. I mean, of course, like we've been both interested in this subject for.
But the channel's like
time.
10 months now. I think we've been doing it, so yeah, it's not long.
That's insane. And thank God. I mean, because
like we go live like 6 days a week.
I know.
Or 6 nights a week.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I can barely go live one night a week.
It is hard to do.
It's hard to put yourself out there, but it does feel good. Like when we get, you know, the support, and we also get to hear different opinions and have great conversations within the chat as well. I mean, it just really engages, you know, everyone's thought processes, and we get to learn something. And we don't always agree with, you know, the chat or vice versa, but it remains respectful. And I think at least having the conversation, or, you know, sometimes we'll get comments like, oh, well, we still kind of believe this person. However, you did get me thinking about this and that, or so-and-so. Or like when we did a show about Bob Lazar, it was like people started questioning things more, even though they still want to believe him. Now they have like almost this nagging like thought in their brain that's kind of like, but question this. And it's like, you know what? That's great. If that's, you know, all we do, that's fine. Then that's our job done.
Yeah. And,
you know,
and it is good because, you know, we do get abuse at times, but we also get stuff sent to us, you know, to thank us for trying, you know, to wake them up to certain things. And so that's always nice to hear. That we do get the support too, and people do, you know, they do kind of think the work we do is good at times as well. So it's those comments we tend to focus on, and not on the bad ones.
Yeah, we definitely try not to. In the beginning, it was harder to do that, but now,
well, I mean, it is hard,
and confidence and time, and just realizing the toxicity out there anyway.
I think, and I think that's great, and I think it's really nice that you two have each other, and that's a really important thing. But it is, unfortunately, I think when you're trying to speak the truth, and the truth that I'm trying to speak is nothing that I ever would have thought was even possible. I mean, the more I dig, the more I have other people that are working with me behind the scenes to do FOIA requests and dig into business relationships, dig into what is taking place with foreign adversaries and A, B, C, and D. It's like there's a very big picture here, which is not, it's frightening, to be honest with you. So it is, I just, I think I commend both of you for going out there and wanting to have, you know, you want integrity. Yeah. And we should all want integrity. And I think that is something that we have never seen in the world of UFOs. I've mentioned this many times on my show before. Like, I've gone to Richard Dolan, I've gone to all of the people that have been the leaders in the subject for many, many years and said, hey, how can we make this subject better? And all of them have said, well, and Nick Redfern, and it just, how can we make this subject better? Well, it's always going to be this way. And my thought is always like, just really, you're lazy.
Yeah.
You're saying that you're not capable of holding people's feet to the fire. You're not capable of saying you're speaking in a way this is not ethical. You're promoting information that is not verified. You know, A, B, C, and D. It's like we have a responsibility, and we can make this subject better, and we should make this subject better. And with regard to Lou Elizondo, that guy has promoted nothing but bullshit.
Yeah, so he's created more division than ever before. Absolutely. In my opinion. Absolutely. Like, I mean, before I don't know. It felt like people had some common ground, and the more that he put himself out there, and the more that he had like, you know, a bigger following that just truly believed in him, the more that those people would attack others for having any sort of questions. And, you know, it is sort of like, where's people's integrity and where's people's standards and where's, you know, having a critical mind to ask these questions and just to think logically what's going on and what people are really saying and actually digging in deeper than what's beyond the surface. So, you know, we do try to do that, and of course we do get hate, but we do also get support for that, and people know that, you know, when they do speak to us or watch the show or whatever, you know, we are being honest and we want to know the truth, and we tell people that they should demand it. You know, they deserve the truth and they deserve to know what actual evidence is or isn't out there and what information is present that they can look up themselves. And so, you know, if we're going to be the ones to do that, then so be it. You know, we
Thank
just
God.
Well
I mean,
said.
thank God. I mean, I just want to say that I'm so grateful that I know both of you. I think I just
Likewise.
I listen to you and I'm just like, thank God there are other people
There's
out there
somebody else
who
out
are
there.
yes. I mean, it's just this is what we need. I think this is an important topic. This should be a fun topic. All of these things should be very empowering, and George Knapp, Robert Bigelow, you know, all of these people have taken power away from us. And that's not okay because they've done that for financial and political gain. And so I definitely think that you and all of us, we're starting something new, and we're going to create our own Twitterverse, which has nothing to do with UFO Twitter, because as far as I'm concerned, that should be done. Nobody should ever get on UFO Twitter again. So
Yeah.
let's find something tonight. Let's find a new name.
Hashtag, yeah.
Yeah, totally new hashtag. But it's just like,
UFO truth or something.
yeah, something. We just need to do that because it's like I think everybody gets in there and then they're, you know, mining data and seeing how people behave badly and
Yeah.
throwing in different whatever they are. But I there's something good and there's something productive, and we are right on the edge of really making a difference. So
Agree.
Yeah. I agree. And, you know, hopefully we can create less division because, you know, as much, it's so easy to just call people either skeptics or believers, but I hate those terms because it creates a division in itself just from using those terms. You know, everybody, no matter what you believe, is coming at it from a different angle because no two people think the exact same. So, or have experienced the exact same throughout their whole lives. So there's got to be another way to talk about all these different like angles of the topic instead of putting it into like two categories, because that right there just creates division and more hate and banter that's just unnecessary, and it takes away from the actual conversation of, you know, either, you know, discussing what could be out there or what's actually, you know, in it already in like have what has evidence already, or what information we could put forward, or just learning and growing from each other. And so there's got to be a better way for that too. I know I'm guilty of saying about skeptics and believers, but I don't like to call myself a skeptic either, because I think I'm just curious and want to grow and learn in the topic, but I need evidence in order to believe, especially the more extraordinary the claims. I am someone who needs the evidence behind it. You know, in life, maybe I've just been burned too many times by people that I'm maybe less trusting in people, but I think that does help in some ways as well. But yeah, so I'm not going to believe anything and everything blindly because it's just not who I am. But we need to stop just putting people in boxes and, you know, thinking that there's only two sort of people in this topic when, you know, everybody's different. So
absolutely.
Right, and I just have to, and it's a great comment. And I just have to say, Venny just said, don't forget UFO experiencers who get lost inside the topic, which is actually true. And I just think that the UFO culture as a whole really, truly is. We need to find a better way.
True.
because there's so many people who have had experiences. There's so many people who want to learn more, and we're not getting what we need in this community. And so to me, I'm just going to throw this out there. Stay off UFO Twitter. Let's find a new place to go, which is, yeah, hashtag
I'm down with
UFO
that.
truth.
Getting down to the point, you know?
Yep. UFO truth. Yep, that's good. Hashtag UFO truth. That's where we're going to go. So find us on Twitter, because that's where we will be. And just so you know that I will be, and I've been talking about this, Mario's like found some really cool shirt, like slimy malcontent. So again, because I'm a slimy malcontent, thanks to Brandon Fugel, one of the Utah's business leaders and friend of the governor and lieutenant governors, calling a woman who's been through domestic abuse a slimy malcontent. Well, maybe I should send that T-shirt to them too. But
I've
anyway,
been called some really interesting things on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I put that stuff on a T-shirt, I think I'd get crazy looks.
well, maybe we should
love
do
it.
that.
That's really
Oh
cool.
yeah,
I like that.
yep.
Nice.
I love
Slimy
it.
malcontent.
Yeah.
And then we should put Brandon Fugel at the bottom of that. That'd be good.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
I'll always be grateful for you to show us the clip about Frugel with his piano days and his keyboard days.
Yeah,
so.
that's on. I guess we were tagged on Twitter with it too.
Oh,
so-
really? Nice.
So I'm definitely gonna rewatch that.
I mean,
that was comedy gold.
I'm sorry.
It's great.
There's really nothing. I'll pay for your therapist. I don't know, like what happens. But I think again, it's like
That bill can run pretty high for some people, though.
Yeah, that's good.
you know, that's true.
Good.
That's true. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, it does show somebody who's willing to, you know, do what it takes to be.
Famous.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, but that's okay. But I love you guys, and I think you guys are amazing. And every night, well, so how many days a week? You guys are 5 days a week, right?
6 days a week. So we do a show every day apart from Fridays.
Yeah, so we go Saturday to Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. But every other Sunday, basically when I don't have my kids, because I've got 2 daughters, we do like an afternoon show on Sundays. So that way it kind of caters a bit better to like the UK and Europe and wherever else in the world that they stay up late for us every night.
Which is crazy.
It is crazy, but we appreciate everybody who does. But yeah, we go 4 p.m. Eastern. So this Sunday we'll be going live at 4 p.m. But then every other night is 9 p.m. So yeah, it's great. And you know, we did kind of just jump in like both feet. What's that saying? Like jump in with both feet, or I'm screwing that up, but basically just went. Yeah, we just went all in with it, and you know, it is good that we have like each other for support, because it does get a bit overwhelming or frustrating, and so it does help. But I don't know, we do love it, and we love the the chat and everybody that joins in on the show. It's great.
And you know, we've highlighted a lot of the bullshit tonight, of course, what goes on, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we do love to talk about this stuff still, you know, and we always will.
Wonder why we're even in it if we're not believers. It's like, it's not that we don't believe in anything, but also we feel like a responsibility to filter through all that bullshit and to, you know, peel back the layers to expose the players.
That's what Artemis says after every show.
I say it at the end of every show. We're peeling the layers, but it's so true. Like you have to peel so many layers back for some of these key players in the topic, and so you know, it's a funny little slogan, but it's very true. You know, so it just works.
No, I love it. I love that, and I think that it's like I said. Every time I listen to your show, I love you guys. I think you're doing this. I can definitely tell that you're doing this because you care, and because, I mean, you're not going to fall down a rabbit hole. You're going to ask questions. You're going to make sure that people are getting good information, whatever that is. I mean, granted, the information I've given to people has changed over the years as I've learned more, but I just really respect, you know, both of you and what you're doing, and anything I can do, you know, to support you guys going forward, I'm totally down.
And And same, Erica. We respect the work you do, and like you said, I know we do speak in the background a little bit now. So let's just continue to do that and build like the friendship too, which is what we want to do.
I mean, I don't know if you even remember that we spoke. I think it was the Big Phone Home that ladies' night. It was like over a year ago, and I remember just being like, "Oh my god, this chick is so cool." And here we are, like a year later.
Yeah, it's funny how things work out.
So yeah, no, it's really great, and we both have a lot of respect for you, and
thank you.
And also just think you're, really funny and cool.
Yeah,
so, love it.
Well, baby Jesus, I mean, it's interesting, and I'm like I said, I'm just grateful for you guys, and it's like, thank you for giving me hope in a younger generation. Praise baby Jesus.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Let's just hope the next generation is just as good or better.
Well, you know what? I mean, with you guys out there talking the truth, that it's really, really good. So thank you very, very much. And everybody can find you on YouTube, right? And is there do you have a website, or is it just YouTube?
Just YouTube.
No, I mean, we have a link tree, but I haven't even gone in and updated it. But it basically just has like our social media links. It's not like an official website. No.
Yeah, so we mainly use Twitter and YouTube. So if anyone wants to follow us on those socials, that's the place to go, really. Yeah. So like we said, we go 6 days a week on YouTube, and we're on
Twitter. I mean, we have Instagram, and I do try to post on Facebook here and there. Like we have a Facebook page, but I mean, it's pretty small and it is hard to keep up with. I don't really use Facebook that much, but there is an audience there. And I mean, we're part of like UFO groups that have like over 100,000 people, but I don't know if it makes any difference or not. Who knows? Just putting it out there, but we mostly are on Twitter. And then of course, YouTube almost every night except Fridays, really. So.
Cool. Well, I love what you do. You guys are freaking kicking butt. And so I'm really happy to know you. Thank you very, very much.
Likewise. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, we've had a great time. Great time.
We'll come back anytime we want.
Okay, yeah, that'll be fun. We should do that. We will talk soon. And I just want to tell everybody out there who listens to UFO Classified, thank you so much for supporting the show. You can go to UFOclassified.com to become a Patreon. Click like, subscribe. Yeah, I mean, I'm like so bad at shamelessly self-promoting, but I don't know. Just click the like button. I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah, and subscribe to people who are watching and not subscribed. What are you waiting for?
Exactly.
That's what
I'm waiting for.
Like you're watching. What are you waiting for? Just hit that subscribe button. Give us a shot.
Exactly.
Do it.
Okay, you're hired. You're hired. Next week you're coming back. Do it. Hit the subscribe button. But anyway, thank you. Thanks all of you guys. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll have tons of stories because I'm on to, along with Jack, some really cool stuff about Skinwalker Ranch, about, oh God, it's going to be good. And I'm sure
that. So wait, that's next Friday. Jack's going on?
Jack's not coming on next Friday, but we're doing behind the scenes investigations. And
ooh. Excited for that.
You know what? I think that those boys at Skinwalker Ranch better buy some stock in Depends.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that Jack had some FOIA stuff about Skinwalker Ranch in the work. So is it relating to that, I'm guessing? Or
it's relating to a lot of that and other bigger things, So.
Nice.
Because there's a lot that goes on from the ranch that, So it'll be fun. I look forward to sharing that with everybody. But yeah that'll be fun.
No, sounds good. We'll see you later.
Okay, thanks you guys.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys. Bye.